In this video, I'm going to show you how to draw the top view of the tool holder, which is project 4.4 in Technical Drawing 101 with AutoCAD. I still have the visible layer set as current, and I've completed the front view at least to a level where I was comfortable with it. I'm going to draw the top view and project some things down from the top view to the front view, so you'll see how I'm going to do that here in just a second. I'm going to start the top view by drawing a rectangle that can completely enclose the top view. Now the top view is going to be 7 inches long. That rectangle is going to be 7 inches long, and it's going to be 2.5 inches wide. So I'm going to select the rectangle command, and let me pick on it again. There we go. And it says specify first corner. I want to snap to that corner right there, and then I'm just going to move my cursor sort of in the direction that I want to go. And I'm going to type 7 comma, and then because I'm going to be going down on the 2.5, I'm going to type minus, the minus symbol, and then 2.5 and press enter. So I typed 7 comma minus 2.5 to get this rectangle drawn here. And remember that when you draw a rectangle, it behaves like one entity, and I'm going to be doing some offsets and things. So what I need to do right away is to explode the rectangle. So I selected the rectangle. I'm going to go up here to the explode command, which is on the modify panel. Just pick on explode, and of course you don't see anything happen, but next time you try to pick a line now, it'll just pick separately rather than be selected as an entire rectangle. So I'm looking at the sketch over here, and I can see that I'm going to have a slot cut in here. And I'm also going to have a line coming straight across, which would be this line that we're seeing right in here. And I can actually project that line, just project that straight up from this view down here. So that would be something simple to add. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to choose the line command, and I'm going to come down there and just leave it on that corner until it says endpoint, and then I'm going to follow the dotted line up. I'm going to pick at the intersection. I'm going to come up here and pick again right up here at the perpendicular. Now it just so happens that because that's 3.5 inches, which is exactly half of 7, that midpoint is the correct object snap as well as perpendicular. Then I'm going to press escape. So that's where this line that we'll see right here will be located. That would be this line up here in the top view that I'm showing on my sketch over here. But there'll be another line projected across from this point right here, which will come across, and it's going to hit a little bit to the left of that line I just did. So I'm going to pick on the line command, and I'm going to park my mouse right there until it says endpoint. I'm going to follow the dotted line up. I'm going to pick at that intersection, come straight across, and when I see the perpendicular, I'll pick again and then press escape. Now at that point, from this point on to the left, there's nothing that's left in there is square, so I can actually trim all this stuff out now, and I think that's what I'm going to do next. I'm just going to pick on that edge right there for right now and just delete that, and then I'm going to do the trim command, pick on it, pick trim, press enter, and pick here and pick here, press escape. Let me do that again, I missed that one. Trim and enter, and go pick on that visible line, and then press escape. So this line here and this line here represent the edges of this inclined plane. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is put this slot in here, and I can see from looking at the sketch over here that from the top edge down to where the line that comes across that starts to form the slot, it's 0.75 inches. So I'm going to pick on my offset command, and then I'm going to type 0.75 and press enter. I'm going to pick the top line, and then I'm just going to pick anywhere below that line, doesn't matter where I pick, and then press escape. The slot, when I look at it, I see that it's 1 inch wide. So if I offset this line 1 inch below it, that will give me the width of the slot. So I'm going to go to my offset command. I'm going to type 1 and press enter. I'm going to pick that line and then just pick anywhere underneath that line, just pick, and then press escape. Now how deep is the slot? How far does it go in? Well, I look over here and I can see that from this edge here, it's 2 inches from here to where the edge of the slot is. So I'm not going to be offsetting from this edge this time. I'm going to be offsetting from this edge over in that direction. So I'm going to pick on my offset command. I'm going to type 2 and press enter. And I'm going to pick that line, which represents this line right down here. I'm going to move anywhere to the right of that and pick, and then press escape. Okay, so things are looking a little bit confusing in here. So I think I need to do some trims to make this clearer. So I'm going to go up to the trim command, and then I'm going to press enter. Make everything a cutting edge. So I'm going to pick right here. That would be a good start. Now I can see that that's actually a slot. I can pick here, and I can pick here, and now I know how deep the slot is. Now I don't want to pick here and here yet. I want to trim this guy first. Trim there and trim there, because I don't want to strand those with the trim command. And now I want to pick here and pick here. And now I can press escape. And you can see that I have sort of the top shape coming together for this. Now later I'm going to project up a hidden line from this corner here and this corner, so there'll be a couple of hidden lines coming across here. But I want to focus on these rounded corners that you can see in the sketch, and it says 2 times R.50. So what it means is that this is rounded 0.50 here, and it's rounded 0.5 here. That's what the 2 times, the 2x means, and the radius is 0.5. So the command I want to use to round those corners is called the fillet command, and it's right up here. I'm going to pick on fillet, and it says to select the first object. And normally that would be picking this line and this line, but at this point AutoCAD does not know that the radius should be 0.5, so I have to come down onto the command line first. And you see the word radius right here? I'm just going to pick on radius, and you can see it's prompting me to specify the fillet radius, and I'm going to type 0.5 and press enter. Now I can come up here and it says select the first object. I can choose this line, and then I can choose the vertical line, and that takes me out of the fillet command. But remember, if you press enter, it will bring you back to the last command. So I'm going to press enter, and I'm going to come and pick on the top visible line, and then pick on that vertical line, and go ahead and place that fillet in there. Alright, so the right side of the top view is looking pretty good. Now I'm going to have to draw some round shapes, some circular shapes in this area to do the rest of this construction. And so when I look at my sketch, I can see that from this corner here, that the center of these circles that I'm seeing over here is 2.25 inches. So I have an idea of how to do that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a construction line. I'm going to use the line command, and I'm going to snap to the midpoint of that line right there. I'm just going to pick right there, and I'm going to move to the left. And remember, I have polar tracking on, so I can go, that's one of my polar tracking angles, is 180, because you want to make sure that this is perfectly horizontal. So I'm just going to move my cursor to the left, and then I'm going to type 2.25 and press enter, and then I'm going to press escape. Now like I said, this is a construction line, and what I know about that line is that there are some circles that are going to be drawn at the end point of that line, so that would be a good place to snap to the center point for these circles. When I look over here, I can see that I have one circle that has a diameter of 1.25. Then I have a circle inside that has a radius of 0.75. Both of those represent what we call the boss, which is this part that sticks up. But I can also see that the very end is also rounded, and it says it has a radius of 0.75. So let's go ahead and place this circle that has a diameter of 1.25 first. So I'm going to pick on my circle command, and I want to make sure I'm choosing the center diameter option, because I know the diameter of that. And so it asked me for the center point of the circle. I'm just going to snap to the end point of that line and pick right there. And then I'm going to move my mouse, and I can see I have a circle shape rubber banding off of that. And I'm going to type the diameter, which is 1.25, and press enter. So I have the circle drawn that's 1.25 in diameter, and now I want to add another circle in here that's 0.75 in diameter. So I'm going to come back to my circle command, and again I want to use circle with the diameter option. And when it asks me for the center point, I want to snap to the end point of that line right there again, And when it asks for the diameter, just type 0.75 and press enter. Then I can press escape. Alright, so now I have the two circles that represent the boss drawn. Now there's another rounded edge out here, and from that rounded edge it goes to these corners over here. So let's put in that rounded edge, and it has a radius of 0.75. So to start, I'm going to draw a full circle with a radius of 0.75. So I'm going to come to my circle command and choose center radius. And I'm going to go back to the same endpoint of that construction line. And now it asks me for the radius of the circle. I'm just going to type 0.75 and press enter. And you can see that circle is a little bit larger than the ones that I just drew. Now the next thing I'm going to do is draw a line from this corner tangent to that larger circle that I just drew. And then I'm going to draw a line from this corner tangent to the top side of that circle, and then I'll trim the circle on the inside. So I'm going to pick on the line command. I'm going to snap to this endpoint and come over here, and I want to make sure that I do not get quadrant. You see, that's where the quadrant is, but if I go a little bit further, you'll see the tangent option show up, and I'm going to pick right there, and I'm going to press escape. Now I can press enter, which will bring me back to the line command, and I'm going to snap to this corner, and again I want to make sure that I get the tangent icon before I pick, and I'm going to pick right there and then press escape. Then I'm going to pick the trim command and press enter, and I'm going to come right inside here and I'm going to trim, and it'll take out that first part of the arc until it gets to my construction line, and then I'm going to trim the bottom part of the arc and then press escape. Now remember, this line right here was just a construction line, so I'm going to pick that and then just pick the erase command, or I could have picked delete and it would have gone away. So at that point I actually have most of my top view finished. I think I've got all my visible lines in the top view, and so I said in the first video that what I was going to do is project down to the front view to locate this boss, and of course we're going to see the side view of the boss, so it's going to look like a rectangle. So let's do that. Let's go to the line command, and let's put our mouse right there on the quadrant until it just says quadrant. I'm not picking. I'm going to follow that all the way down. I want to keep my dotted line, and when I get right here I want to pick right on that visible line. Now I don't want it to go over to the midpoint of that line. I want to go right under the dotted line, so I'm going to pick right there. I'm going to move my mouse straight up. Now what's the height of that boss? When I look over here in my sketch, I can see that the height of that boss is 0.25. So I want to make sure that I'm going perfectly vertical there. I'm just going to move in that direction. I'm going to type 0.25 and press enter. At that point I'm going to move to the left. Now how far to the left should I go? Well, if I come up here and I acquire the quadrant at the left side of that 1.25 diameter circle and follow my dashed line down, and once I see it go perfectly horizontal and I get that X, I'm going to pick right there. And then what I want to do is come straight down and pick on the perpendicular and then press escape. So that's what the boss looks like. It's 0.25 from this edge to this edge, and it's 1.25 from this side to this side, and of course the sides have to line up with the quadrants of the circle in the top view that represent the boss. So I think that's the last visible line that I'm going to have in either of those views. So I'm going to switch over and make my current layer the hidden layer. So I'm going to pick on hidden, and I know I'm going to have a hidden line coming right through here from the edge of the slot. So let's add that. Pick on the line command, come over here and place your mouse at that corner. Follow the dotted line down. Remember, that's a polar tracking line. We're going to pick right there, and then we're going to come down and pick at the perpendicular and press escape, and that puts that hidden line in. We need two hidden lines representing the sides of this hole that goes all the way through. That's part of the boss. So I'm going to pick the line command, and I'm going to acquire the quadrant of that diameter 0.75 hole. Follow it down, pick right there at the top, go all the way down and pick at the bottom line at the perpendicular and press escape. Pick on the line command again, and this time go to the quadrant on that side of the hole. Just park your mouse there, don't pick. Follow the dotted line down. Pick here at the top, and then pick down here at the bottom at the perpendicular and press escape. Alright, now I need a couple of hidden lines up here in the top view, so I'm going to pick on the line command. I'm going to park my mouse right there at that corner, follow the dotted line up, pick at that intersection, pick at that perpendicular, press escape. You can just press enter, which will bring you back to the line command. Put your mouse right there on that corner until it says it has the endpoint. Follow the dotted line up, pick right there, and then go up and pick perpendicular there and press escape. Okay, the last thing to do on this is to add a few center lines. So I'm going to go up and change my current layer to the center layer. I'm going to pick on that. And now that I'm in the center layer, I'm going to choose this tool right over here, which is my center mark tool, which is on my dimensioning toolbar. I'm going to pick on that. And when it asks me to select the arc or circle, I'm going to select the largest arc or circle that I have. I'm going to pick on that because I want the center mark to extend all the way past the edge of the larger circle here. Okay, now I can project a center line straight down from this center line and put a center line in this view down here. So let's do that. I'm going to pick on my line command. I'm going to acquire that endpoint by just parking on there for a second. Follow the dotted line down. I'm going to pick at this intersection and pick down here at this perpendicular and then press escape. Now, this center line should extend up 0.25 and down 0.25 from those visible lines. So I'm just going to pick on that. I'm going to pick on the grip and hold down, drag my mouse straight up, and then let go of my mouse and type 0.25 and press enter. Then I'm going to pick on the bottom grip. I'm going to pick and hold down and drag it straight down, let go of my mouse and type 0.25 and press enter. Then press escape. Now, what's wrong with my center line? It should have a dash in there, right? And remember that the thing that controls the size of dashes in a drawing is called line type scale. And so it's clear that I need to change my line type scale, which we call LTS. So I'm just going to type LTS and press enter. And when I look at that, it says enter a new line type scale, and right now it's telling me it's 1. So I want to go a little bit smaller with my line type scale, and the first one I'm going to try is just I'm going to type 0.75 and press enter. And looks like that was enough. If 0.75 had not shown the dash, I would have typed LTS again and entered, and I would have probably tried 0.625, which would have been a little bit smaller. So sometimes you have to try several different sizes until you get your dash lines to show the way you want them to show up. I'm going to zoom in on this because I want to show you something. I want to make sure that this line extends out 0.25 from this edge. So I'm going to highlight that line and drag it back to the quadrant. Now I'm going to pick on it and hold down and drag it in this direction. Make sure it's going horizontal and type 0.25 and press enter, and then press escape. Same thing with this one. I want it to be 0.25 from here sticking out in that direction, so I'm going to drag it back to that corner right there. Then I'm going to pick and hold down on it and drag it to the left and type 0.25 and press enter, and then press escape. And this line that I have here is the center of this larger line, so I definitely want it to be at least 0.25 from here to here. Some people will draw that 0.25 from here down, and that's really up to your instructor. But if we want to do that, we just need to drag it back up to that edge right there, and then pick on it and drag it straight down and type 0.25 and press enter. And we can do the same thing. Then I'm going to press escape. Now I'm going to pick this one, drag it down to there, to that edge, to that intersection right there, and then pick and hold and drag it up, let go and type 0.25 and press enter and press escape. Now, like I said, your instructor may just have you draw it 0.25 from this edge down, and that would be fine. Now I'm going to scroll back out so we can see both of our views. Now at this point, I believe that's everything we need. Oh, I see there's a couple of more center lines we ought to add right up here, some center marks. So we're going to pick on our center mark, and we should have a center mark right here, which gives us the center mark for this fillet that we added. And we need to do that again on the top side. So I'm going to pick on that. I'm going to come over here and pick on this and add that. Press escape. I'm going to zoom in. Now I have to edit these a little bit. I'm going to pick on this. I'm going to pick on this. I'm going to pick this one. I'm going to pick this one. And I'm going to press delete. Because when I have a fillet like that, I don't need center marks sticking out in this direction and this direction. I just need center marks telling me where that fillet is. Okay, in the same way I need it down here. Now, what I want these to do is to extend from this edge out 0.25. And I'm going to do it a little bit quicker this time. I'm going to use the offset command. I'm going to pick on offset. For the offset distance, I'm going to type 0.25 and press enter. And I'm going to pick this fillet, and then I'm just going to pick anywhere to the right. And then I'm going to pick this fillet, and I'm going to pick anywhere to the right. And then press escape. Now what I want to do is use the extend command. Now the extend command is behind the trim command. And so the way you get to it is you pick on the down arrow next to trim, and you pick on extend. And then you want to press enter. And that makes everything what we call a boundary edge. And so what I want to do is I want to come to this center line here and pick, and it will extend out to that line that I just offset. Then I want to come to this center line and pick. I want to come to this center line and pick, and finally to this center line and pick, and then press escape. Now pick this red line, or this red arc, and this red arc, because those are just construction lines, and then press delete and take both of those out. Now let's see if that's everything. I'm going to compare it to the drawing that I have over here. It appears that my top view and front view are completely done. So since my top view and front view are finished, in the next video I'll show you how to draw the right side view.